What's up guys, welcome to the channel. In this tutorial I'm just going to be teaching you how to cut people out in Photoshop so that you can put them on ads, posters, whatever you want to use. It's really simple, and yeah, let's get right into it. So we're going to be cutting out this picture of Lil Tecca right here. Lil Tecca is just an upcoming rapper from New York. I do a lot of stuff with rappers, athletes, and Lil Tecca is one of my favorites right now. So we'll just grab a picture off Google. A good way to get a high quality picture is to click on tools right here, and then right underneath this drop down menu just hit large. That'll give you a bunch of nice high quality good resolution pictures to use. This is the best one I was able to find, and yeah, so we're just going to take it and drop it right into Photoshop, right into this document that I have already created, and place it right in the middle. So from here, we're going to use the quick selection tool, which is right here. You can find it. It's a brush, and it's got like a little selection blob thing with it. Click on that. What we're going to do, we're going to make the brush a little bit bigger. You can do that by hitting the right bracket on your keyboard or by adjusting the slider right up here. Then we're just going to click and drag and fill in all of our subject until it's all selected. When it's selected, it'll have this like dashed line going right around it. From there, once we have this selection all done and we have what we need selected, you're going to click on Select and Mask right at the top here. Once that comes up, you're going to bring your transparency all the way to 100% if it's not. That way you can see what's actually being cut out versus what isn't being cut out. I like to have it on 100. You could put it at like 80 or 90 if you want to, but I just like to have it at 100. That way I can see exactly what I'm doing. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go in and see if we missed any spots, like right here. And then you're going to just click and drag right over that again. Make sure you have the plus brush selected over with this right here. From there, what I'm going to want to do later is cut out his hair to be a little bit better. So I'm going to take this lasso tool and I'm going to cut right around the top of his head so that I can go back in and fix that up later. So once I have that, I can adjust these sliders in order to get the best edges right around my selection as possible. I like to bring the feather all the way down just because you don't want the edge of your person to be soft like that. You want it to be a nice hard crisp edge. And then you pretty much just adjust these sliders to whatever you need in order to get a good edge around them. There's really no right or wrong way to do it. Just as long as you get the edges looking nice and crisp like you can see right there. And then once you are able to get these edges looking all nice, you're going to hit OK. And then you're going to have the selection made. You're going to click on this button right here, which makes you have a new mask. So once you have it masked, you can zoom in and you can see what you have cut out. What a mask basically is erasing your subject or the background around your subject without losing it forever. So if you want to get anything back, all you have to do is take either black or white. Black is what removes the background, white is what adds the background, and just paint it back in. So say I wanted to actually get some of this background back, I'll just switch to a white brush with the mask selected on the layer and just paint the background right back in, and I can get it back if I need to. I don't need it back, so I'm going to take that out again. Now, I wanted to leave this up here around his hair so that I could go in with another tool and get all of these little like stray hairs, if that's what you want to call it, and because that's something the quick selection tool doesn't do well. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the background erase tool, which is found underneath your erase tool if you have like a little pop-up menu like this, and you're going to grab the background erase tool. And then you're going to select the layer instead of the layer mask, and you're going to adjust the tolerance to be whatever you're going to want it to be, you might want to erase and then check it and then undo it depending on whether or not it looks good or not. Same thing with the sliders before. You're just going to want to adjust the tolerance to whatever you need it to be. You're going to put the limits to be discontiguous, and then you're just going to go in here and you're going to start erasing. You're going to want to click on the color that you want to remove, aka the background. In this case, it's orange. And then I'm just going to go in and I'm going to take out all of this. Since you have it set to discontiguous, it's going to be able to go like across all of the little hairs and all that, and it'll come out pretty nice. A lot better than if you were to do the background selection tool or anything like that. So as you can see, I'm not super happy with how the hair is coming out, so I'm going to play with the tolerance and see if that does anything to make it look better. And I'm going to try to avoid the shirt, that way I can take care of that a better way. However, I want to hit as much of the hair as possible. And then right over on this side, I'm just going to go back in and take out all this background over here. And same thing with the shirt, I'm going to try to avoid his hand as much as possible, that way I can go back in and take that out. So while this doesn't mask it, it's going to erase it. It gives you a nice background along the hair that the quick selection tool doesn't give you. So once I have that, I'm going to take the pen tool, which can be found right here. It looks like a, it looks like a pen. And what you're going to do is go back in, nice and close, and cut along the hard object that's right next to the hair, whether it be a hand, a shirt, a shoulder, whatever it is. And the pen tool, you use it by clicking and then dragging the anchor point to get the line that you want. It's just a lot crisper than having to use like a eraser, a brush tool, or whatever your preference would be. And then once you have this whole section like cut out, then you're going to right click and go make selection. You're gonna just hit OK. You don't want any feathering or anything like that. You're gonna select your mask again, and then you're going to make sure that it is black, because that's what erases the background without losing it at all. And you just want to use masks all the time to get rid of stuff, that way it's like non-destructive and you don't ever like lose any of your progress. So now I have his hand good. I'm gonna come back right over here and I'm going to cut out his shirt, or cut just along his shirt. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with the pen tool, just clicking and dragging, and then just connecting it together. Right click, make selection, OK. Take your brush, make sure it's on black on your mask, and just get rid of this. And then if you need to go back in, you can do that. Cool. Deselect that, Command D is the shortcut for that on the keyboard, or you can go up to Select, Deselect on the menu bar. And then with this remaining orange, I'm just going to go in with a brush on my mask layer and make the hardness about 25%, and then I'm just going to make it big enough so that I can erase all of this. And then since it's on the mask layer, I can get it back if I ever need it back, just in case. Awesome. Now we got his hair cut out. We have the main part of his body cut out. But you can see that there's a few places in here that you can see the background still right there. You can still see some orange. Right there you can still see some of the couch that he was sitting on. So we're going to go in. We're just going to take those out real quick. And I think I'm just going to do it with the quick selection tool. I'm going to see if that lets me pull this nice and easy. Make sure I have the layer selected. And then click on that. And you can see that sometimes the quick selection tool doesn't get it all the way that you want it to be. So I think that I'm actually just going to go in here with the pen tool, similar to how I just did it, and just cut this out real quick. And since this is going to be small at the end, it doesn't need to be absolutely perfect. If you get it close like that, that's perfectly fine. You don't need to get it down to the finest pixel. And then since that's the background we want to get rid of, go back to your mask layer, use your black brush, and just paint that right in. And then Command D, it deselects that selection. Then we're going to go right back up here and do the same thing. Since this has part of his hair, I think I'm actually going to go back to the regular layer, not the mask, and use the background eraser tool again just to clean some of this up. Be careful not to hit their hand or anything like that while you're doing this. Make sure you just have a small brush. And then I'm going to go in with the pen tool one more time and just go right along his hand. And then right along the orange that needs to be cut to try and not cut any of the hair that we just tried to preserve. You're going to make the selection just like we did before. Go back to that mask layer, take the black brush, paint that right in, Command D or Control D if you're on a PC to get rid of that. And now we have our full Lolteca cutout. If you take away the background, you can see the transparency. You can see all of the hair right here. It looks preserved. You can see some of those little like straggly hairs like along the edge. We didn't lose any of that detail because we used the background eraser tool instead of the quick selection tool. Cool. And now if we want to turn this into an album cover or a poster or anything like that, I'm going to leave the black background, and then what we can do is make a new layer. And even if you didn't make a new layer, you can just click text tool and it'll make a new layer for you. And then I'm just going to write Lolteca. And then pick a font that you like. I'm going to use Titling Gothic Extended. I'm going to make it bold. Once I have this text written out, I'm going to go Command T and then just scale it down. Once I have this scaled down so that it fits, if you have the newest version of Photoshop, just scale it. Don't hit shift or anything like that to keep the aspect ratio the same. You don't want to mess that up. And then you're just going to want to center that right with the canvas. And give it a little room on top and a little room on bottom. And what I want to do is put these words behind him, and then Command J will allow you to duplicate the layer. Before I get too far, what I'm going to do is make this layer what I want it to look like. That way I can just duplicate it a bunch of times. So what I'm going to do is make the fill 0. That's going to look like it's away, but really it's just taking away all of the thing that's filling the object, like all of the color. And then I'm going to add a stroke, and I'm going to make it really, really thin, and then just make the size 1, make the color white, or if I, actually, you know what, I'm going to make it orange. Once I have the orange stroke on there, I just hit OK. You can choose position inside, outside. It doesn't really matter if it's only 1 pixel and you're just doing an effect like this. If you were to add a stroke to like Lil Tecca, you would want to do it on the outside rather than the inside. But yeah, it doesn't really matter for what we're doing. And then what you're going to want to do is have this text layer selected and go Command J. What that's going to do is duplicate the layer. That's just the shortcut for it. And then you're going to just drag down and then just give it a little bit of space like we did before. And then you can select both layers, Command J, that'll duplicate them both. And we can do the same thing. If you have smart guides on, it'll automatically give you the same width as before when you drag it down. And it makes it nice and easy. Once we do that, we can just do this a couple more times so that we can get it all the way down to the bottom. Cool. And then once I have it done a bunch of times all the way to the bottom, I'm just going to adjust the whole group and put them together in a group by making a folder and selecting all the layers at once. And then we can adjust the size of them to try and make it fit the canvas a little bit better. So now I have it centered all behind him, and it looks good now. We got the main premise of our design. It says Lil Tecca a bunch of times. It goes behind him. We got him cut out. It's all cool. So now what I'm going to do is add just a couple effects and different layers and stuff like that just to really tie it all together and make it look really good. So I have on my hard drive something from Black Market. They're a really cool texture thing that you can find online, and they do textures and packs and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to do is just grab a dust thing or a dust texture that they do. It scratches dust, all kinds of cool stuff, and drag it right on and just drop it right in there. Then I'm going to go to normal, and then I'm going to change that to screen or lighten, whatever you prefer, and that kind of just puts this texture effect over it. It makes it look cool, and it just kind of adds to the design and gives it some texture. Next, I'm going to go in here to my layer styles, or not layer styles, but like adjustment layers. And I'm going to choose curves. And then what I'm going to do with curves is bring this up, and this crushes the blacks out, and then this makes the blacks darker. I'm going to crush them just a little bit and then put this little curve on it. And then that kind of just gives it like a little, I don't know how to describe the effect, but I like to do it just because I don't like my blacks to be so harsh. So I add that, and then I'll go back into my Black Market assets and see if there's anything I can do. Maybe I want to add another one of these like grunge type things. I can drop that right on top. And then again, I can go into these layer styles and just play with it a little bit, choose screen, and that'll just add another like little texture to them. So I hope that helps you guys learn about like cutting people out, designing something, making something look cool and simple, really fast in Photoshop. If this tutorial helped you at all, leave a like, leave a comment. Let me know what you want to see in the future, and I can see what I can do to make that happen. My Instagram will be down in the description below, along with my website. And yeah, that's all I got. So thank you, and I'll see you next time. I know that I'm gone.